The 4th century is widely regarded as the inaugural period of Christianity. For any modern reader, the vast complexity and the apparent violence of the theological confrontations during the 4th century is, at first sight, stunning. It is probably the most researched period in the history of the early church, and attempts to understand what happened between Nicaea 325 and Constantinople 381 have increased the amount of exegetical literature to an unexpected degree of minutiae and precision. The reasons for this almost unique concentration of scholarly efforts do not even need to be mentioned. The perennial discussion about, respectively, the Hellenistic and the Jewish heritage of Christianity, the definitive setting of the scriptural canon of the early church, the irrepressible rise of monasticism and other ascetic forms of life, the beginning of the end of paganism in the Roman Empire, the elevation of Christianity as religion of state under Constantine the Great, the first schisms in the church, the missionary developments, the establishment of the Christian forms of art, and above all, the theological foundation of orthodoxy. All are interconnected issues which deserve particular attention. One of the most distinctive features of the 4th century is probably the dramatic search for truth on the side of the theologians, contrasting with the interest in political unity of the emperors. Although both the theologians and the emperors claimed to be Christians, this was not a sufficient incentive to assure simultaneously freedom, unity, and tolerance within a deeply religious society. Nicaea 325 did not exhaust all the problems raised by Arius and his followers at the beginning of the same century. The condemnation of Arius's teaching, solemnly pronounced by the Emperor Constantine, was accepted by most of the bishops, who rejected in fact a theology with no great antecedents in the acknowledged doctrines of the Church. Many bishops did regard Nicaea as an authoritative ecumenical council, preferring to draw other lines of continuity with the past. It is noteworthy that tradition, paradosis, was not an authoritative concept only for the orthodox, and the mere recourse to an ambiguous past functioned as a foundational argument for both the Nicene and anti-Nicene parties. It is very clear that the establishment of the creed did not sort out all the problems, which needed additional interpretation. On the side of the orthodox, Athanasius had to justify formulae like homoousios and ektesousios tou patros. Arius's theology of the transcendent God, who remained unknowable even to his son, still fascinated many theologians who regarded the Nicene theology as problematic. But Arius's theology left a twofold possibility. Some could accept the similarity of essence between the Father and the Son, the homoians, while others could exacerbate the ontological gulf between the Father and the Son and make them dissimilar, the anomians. Arius's supporters were located outside his homeland, Libya, Palestine, Asia Minor, while Athanasius's enjoyed great sympathy among the simple Christians of Alexandria. Neither the condemnation nor the deportation of Arius meant the final defeat of his heresy. Arius's revival was easily accomplished after a member of the Orthodox group, Eustathius of Antioch, committed the sin of lèse-majesté against the emperor. Already received by Constantine the Great at his court in 327, Arius was vindicated by a local synod of Bithynia at 328, when Athanasius became Bishop of Alexandria. Arius gained support in Libya, while in November 335 the emperor himself sent Athanasius for disciplinary reasons into his first exile, out of 5, in Gaul, where he wrote Contra Gentes and probably De Incarnatione. Eventually, sensing the perils of a new schism in the church, wounded already by the Donatist split in North Africa, Constantine compelled Arius to declare his agreement with the Nicene Creed. Surprisingly, as both Socrates and Sozomen recorded, Arius did not refuse, but Athanasius reported that Arius privately maintained his earlier convictions. As Rowan Williams concluded, Arius may have been a genuine repentant, but it sounds as though he was rather struggling to find a peaceful compromise. Yet Arius died without being in communion with the Church, and this very fact shaped for a long time the perception of his doctrine as the archetypal heresy during the whole 4th century. Constantine's attitude towards Arius remained fairly ambiguous, being himself baptized by an Arian bishop, Eusebius of Nicomedia, at the hour of his death, on the 22nd of May 337. It would be reductive to claim that the Catholic model sprang univocally from the political agenda of the emperor, who obviously wanted a unifying religion for his people. However, Nicaea was far from bringing a monochrome religious identity in the empire.